We have something else in common besides passion and cigars and planes and things like that. I was on the beach one year, walking along the beach, and I thought I heard the hiss of the waves crashing on coming on the sand, and then that hiss that the wave makes when it goes back out to sea, till I realized it was a calm day and there was no hiss. And the hiss was in my head. And it got louder. And I thought, this is horrible. I went looking for help, couldn't find any help. And I became close to suicidal. I had tinnitus. And I went searching everywhere. Went to the House Institute, the old man, Dr. House.
John House.
John. And we sat and cried. Tears were in our eyes because he had tinnitus too, and I had tinnitus. And we were talking about never hearing a quiet night again. And then I thought about you. One day, you can't hear. What was going on in your head?
Well, it first started out without fear because I just started losing my hearing in my left ear first. So I went to a doctor, ear, nose, and throat, took my history and said, you've got hearing loss in your family. Not total deafness, but you've got hearing loss in your family. This is normal. It's starting a little early for you, but we got it handled. Every week, 10% more would be lost.
Every week?
Every week I was losing 10% more hearing in this left ear. Then the right ear started soon after that.
Did you have a ringing at all?
Yeah, I've got tinnitus in both ears.
How bad?
It's not constant. It comes and goes. And the tinnitus in my right ear, when it's bad, I think I'm listening to a bunch of monks do a Gregorian chant, and it's as clear as a bell. The tinnitus in this ear, which the inner ear has been removed from my cochlear implant, is just a low hum, which has the effect of making people sound like this. It takes all the highs out and just adds a bunch of bass. But it's cyclical. I don't have any of that right now in either ear. I'm not experiencing it. It comes and goes. But the hearing loss, they tried everything to save. It was an autoimmune attack, autoimmune inner ear disease. And so they gave me a bunch of chemotherapy drugs to slow down the immune system. And I was getting scared because this is my career and it's the end of it. And I had never heard of a cochlear implant. And they told me about an implant, how it works, and they were very supportive. Your career will be saved. We'll at least be able to get you where you can talk to somebody. You'll never recognize music that you haven't heard before. And you're going to have difficulty hearing in multi-voice loud environments. Well, we can at least, you're going to be able to be in contact with your environment. You're going to hear the waves on the ocean. It's going to sound like static to you on a radio, but you're going to hear it. The worst part was I had to wait for a month after I totally became deaf for the surgery because I had an infection, a viral infection. They couldn't do the surgery while that happened. So I did my radio show with a court reporter doing stenography on the phone callers for a month, just trying to manage my voice by the memory of the way it felt.
I was going to say, could you hear yourself?
No, could not hear myself. Could
Wait
only
a
feel.
minute.
Could only feel.
You could only feel this vibrating, and you couldn't hear yourself.
No, 100% totally deaf. And everybody, it was noticeable. I was doing my best to speak normally, but they assured me, you cannot.
Were you terrified in the moment you realized you were going to go deaf?
I didn't think so, but the doctor's house told me I was scared to death. They told me. But at the time, one of my character traits is that, as I perceive myself, is I'm a profound literalist. What is. And feeling bad about it and getting scared wasn't going to change it. I'm sure I went through shock, and I'm sure I went through fear for, oh gosh, until I learned about the implant. Once I learned about the implant, I was strangely confident. I mean, I looked at it as a challenge.